everyone, and welcome to GoldenNova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. It's been a little while, but that means we have all the more releases to talk about today, including one that we actually did have today. Charmer cards are coming out. Not only have they enjoyed probably one of the biggest fan favorite undercurrents of support ever since their release, all the way back in the olden days of the game, they've also gotten their own structure deck. And now, word on the grapevine is that they're getting their own animation chronicles. Now, this is probably the most interesting one. First was Sky Strikers, which we knew had a coherent story thanks to the manga, not that the animation did us any favors with that. And then we had the branded storyline, which we also already knew had a pretty, succinct is the wrong word for it, a cohesive story from the cards. Charmers, on the other hand, don't really have a plot line. Now, we do know that they are dual terminal canon due to the connection with Win, but they're so separated from it in their normal day-to-day life that it really doesn't affect anything. So, will we be getting some kind of engrossing lore about their involvements in the magical spiritual arts? Will we get more information about their familiars and the possessing process? Or will it be an anime about cute girls doing cute things, and we've added moe to our genre of stories that we can tell in Yu-Gi-Oh? Only time will tell, but these cards are going to help. Let's check out the Chronicles 2 Charmer cards, starting with Charmers of the Grand Circle, a level 6 light spellcaster fusion monster requiring 2 or more Charmer and or familiar possessed monsters, and it has the classic stat line, 1850 attack, 1500 defense. You can only use the effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can choose among these effects a number of times up to the number of original attributes among its materials, maximum of 4, and apply them in sequence. You can choose the same effect multiple times. Okay, so this card gains 800 attack. Add a possessed spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Return a card on the field to the hand, or special summon a spellcaster monster from your graveyard. Oh, that's just good. It's hard to say that this is not just generally good. Granted, the way the effect works means that you have to fusion summon this if you want any benefits off of it, because while there's ways to cheat out fusion monsters, even treating it as a fusion summon, if you don't use materials, it has no attributes to check against. And it'll always have at least 2 of them, because the minimum is 2. I don't know if giving it an 800 attack boost is necessarily going to be priority, though if you do 4, so 8, 16, 32 times this one is 5,000 possible attack on this. So this could be a game ender if you need it, but otherwise it searches you cards, it's removal, or it revives your spell, like any spellcaster. Oh, and because it is a spellcaster fusion monster, magicalized fusion now becomes a lot better. Just send all your Charmers to the graveyard, utilize them for link summons, and then bam, magicalized fusion it out. Those Charmers / familiars will not be in the graveyard to revive with that last effect, but there's still plenty of other ones to utilize. So this is already just a really stellar card to start with. And then we have Spellbook of the... Spellbook? Normal spell card? Okay, so followers of the Deep lore will know that Endymion has a lot of dark magical circle imagery in it. That connects it with Dark Magician, and because of other instances of dark magic circle showing up in Charmer things, namely I think it's Dark Spiritual Art Greed, we can tie Endymion and Dark Magician to the dual terminal canon. That being said, I've always kind of felt that the Dark Magical Circle was kind of a... I don't know, it's just like a cool magical symbol, and I've always wanted more recognition. Now, granted, I don't think this solves that. Saying that a Spellbook card ties in with the Prophecy cards, who use the Spellbook normal spells themselves, is kind of like saying a card that has Dragon in its name means that it's tied with every other dragon in the game. It's just one of those pieces of iconography that transcend storylines. But it's a start. it's something. Anyway, enough pondering on that one. What does the card actually do? You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, add 4 Charmer monsters with different attributes from your deck, graveyard, and or banishment to your hand, then return 2 cards from your hand to the deck. So this is still a +1, because you're spending the card, and you're returning 2 cards to get 4. So that's already kind of nutty. Notably, it also grabs from the banishment. So when I said we could use Magicalized Fusion, those materials aren't gone forever. Second effect, you can banish this card from your grave to fusion summon a fusion monster using Charmer and or familiar possessed monsters from your hand or field. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when that monster is fusion summoned. Ooh, that's so it lacks the Miracle Fusion option that Magicalized Fusion gives us, but if we hard fusion summon using the graveyard effect of Spellbook of the Grand Circle, all of these effects become unrespondable. Once again, the attack gain, we don't really care about that, but being able to search cards means that it can't get ashed. Being able to return cards to the hand means that you can't hit it with a chalice or droplets or whatever the kids are using to negate effects on the field nowadays. And notably, this fusion summons any fusion monster. So long as Charmers and Familiar Possessed are materials, you can fusion summon any monster. Granted, I don't think that the pool of monsters that those can be used to make is very large, but I'm sure there's some that are generic enough that could branch out from the Charmer pool. These two are fantastic. These are great starts. Being able to add the right Charmer monsters to enable certain effects is pretty huge, especially with all of the other support cards that surround them. The Charmer monsters themselves are pretty bad. They suck. But the other cards that have been released in modern times have bent over backwards to give them something to do. So, glad to see that we're getting more support that leans into that. Good stuff. Let's move on to our next one. The next V-Jump promo, the 3 Brave Swordsouls. I have already heard not good things about this online. I couldn't help but see people's reactions to this, but I think I am going to throw in my 2 cents right now. Let's take a look. We have a level 8 Light Spellcaster Synchro monster whose attack equals their own defense. Who could have seen this coming? It requires a level 4 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters as materials. So, generally the other material is going to be 1 level 4 monster. But hey, if you have 2 level 2 non-tuners to go along with this, then have fun. Maybe you're playing a Sprite deck and you haven't locked yourself. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, if this card is synchro summoned, you can add a level 4 or 8 spellcaster monster whose attack equals their own defense from your deck or grave to your hand. And second effect, you can target a face-up card on the field and negate its effect. Then, if you have an Ecclesia or a Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard, you can destroy that card. Okay. So, one of the things that the new Albaz cards allows us to do is access synchro monsters. While older support cards like Branded Fusion will just give us a flat, nothing but fusion summons, the new Albaz circular effect, I believe it is, not the Ecclesia one, but the Albaz one, okay, it's the Ecclesia is the synchro monster. Albaz is the main deck one that sets everything up. His restriction is level 8 fusions and synchro monsters, so this is in the running with that one. Now, the competition, of course, is Ecclesia and all the other level 8 synchros you might want to be playing. I don't know, this seems kind of good to me, right? Like, it's something that Cartesia and Quem now gets to, like, you can use them for something once all your other combo stuff is on the board, and it fills your hand with something else. Granted, our pool for these cards is a little weird. I think we can grab original Fleur-de-Lis, and that could potentially summon itself if there's an extra deck monster on the field, but we'd need a Dogmatica to allow it to use the negation, and because this is a Sword Soul card, we would need another Dogmatica on board to make that negate work out. The second effect is not terrible. It's once again, we are adding removal to a theme that has historically had trouble getting actual, like, spot removal. I think, what, Mirror Jade was the only real, like, get rid of this card option that you had. Unless you went outside the archetype, of course. I don't know, I think this is fine. I think this is a fine promo card. It's nice, it's a good option, I don't think it's overpowering. And it gives us cool new fan service in the form of seeing these three working together. I have little to complain about for this one. A good additional option, glad to have it. Next up, X-Saber card again! I told you we were going to get more of them, and, you know, not that I was seeing into the future, that's just kind of how it was going to work. And we have Hyunlei and Guard Strike on here doing a little cross slash, as is their right. And it's a continuous spell. What does that do? You can only use the second and third effects of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, you can... the X-Saber monsters you control gain attack equal to their own original defense while you have 10 or more X-Saber monsters on your field, grave, and or banishment. Okay, that's... We're probably never going to see this. Thankfully, it doesn't say X-Saber monsters with different names, and checking for 10 is pretty thematic, so I gotta give it that. But I don't know. We'd have to go point by point and see if their defenses are really anything to, you know, call home about, but I don't know. Maybe that's an additional bonus. What about the next one? 2. If you special summon an X-Saber monster from the extra deck, you can special summon an X-Saber monster from your hand or deck. Okay, that gets you more material, potentially synchro climbing you. 3rd, when your opponent declares an attack, you can special summon an X-Saber monster from your hand. Oh, okay, so... ooh. Oh, boy. This is unfortunate. When I covered the X-Sabers, I was pretty down on what they allowed you to do and what they were capable of. They were not super exciting. Saber combination is not exactly doing it for me. It doesn't give the X-Saber that you summon anything in particular on that 3rd effect. The second one is, you know, fine. It is a hard once per turn, so we can't just keep summoning X-Sabers. Then the attack bonus is pretty situational. You'd have to get pretty far into the game, I believe, to get 10 X-Sabers into your graveyard. So, man, after all these years, X-Saber's getting shafted on the support wave. Very sad to see, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Promotional pack cards, 2006. Let's see what kind of goofy cards they're coming out for this one. First one is Fallin Cheatah, a level 3 fire beast with 1100 attack and 2200 defense. First effect, this card cannot be tributed or used as material for a fusion, synchro, xyz, or link summon. Second effect, if any number of monsters are special summoned to your opponent's field while this monster is on the field, you can target one of them, switch control of it and this card, but that monster cannot be tributed or used as material for a fusion, synchro, xyz, or link summon while this monster is on the field. Huh. Okay. So, hold on. Are they doing the frickin', like, the meme of, like, the one person looking back at the lady and the other lady's like, oh? Is that, are they doing that for the card? That's unreal. So this is kind of funny, though, right? If you can get this onto the board, you are threatening a way to steal your opponent's monster. And instead of making it so they can't be used, they can't use their effect or the usual things that you would limit when you would take someone's monster, it just says you can't use them as material while Fallin Cheatah is on the field. So you could eventually use it as material, but like the keep is permanent. It doesn't change back. Though granted, you do give this to your opponent, so if you special summon, then they can give you back Fallin Cheatah and take what you summoned. So this is, I don't think this is viable anyway. Don't let me get away with saying this is viable for anything, but this is funny. And I'm gonna say it. This is really funny in Domain. Like, literally, you put Fallin Cheatah on board, and all of a sudden, all three of the other players on the board are, like, eyeing each other like, what's gonna happen? Because, like, there's a card like this in Magic the Gathering. I think it's Perplexing Chimera, where you can, while you have it, if someone else casts a card, you can switch control of like the spell being cast and the creature that's the perplexing chimera, so you give that to them, and then you gain control of that spell being cast, but then like everyone else has to be careful by casting stuff because now that person can swap it. This is very funny. I hope someone does something goofy with this at some point. That's very funny. Okay, next up is Blackjack the Shadow Armored Knight, a level 10 Dark Warrior synchro monster with 0 attack and defense requiring generic material. It can't be destroyed by battle. Each time any number of cards are placed in your opponent's spell and trap zone, excavate cards from the top of your deck until you excavate a monster and equip it to this card. Also place the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. It gains attack and defense equal to the total levels of the monster equipped to this card times 300, and if the total levels of the monsters equipped to this card are more than 21, destroy it. They made a synchro poker knight? That's very funny. Obviously, I don't think it has any actual synergy with the Poker Knights, but it is a very funny piece of interaction, just a very funny effect. So you can summon this in defense position. It's a wall. Each time a card is placed in your opponent's spell and trap zone. So, of course, there's, your opponent plays a spell or trap card, or they set a spell or trap card. There's also things like Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye, where you can place a card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, and then proc this effect. 21 is the maximum level that can go on here. What is that? That's 6,300 attack that this is capable of being before it blasts itself. Notably, if you have a effect that continuously protects it, then you can keep this safe. This text reads exactly like a Burning Abyss Malabranch effect, so it will continuously keep destroying itself until all of its protections go away. But if, for instance, you have Cherubini pointing to it, then it keeps itself safe and can have a higher stack than that. But then that's going up against the rules of Blackjack, and how could you cheat in a different card game while playing Yu-Gi-Oh? That's against the spirit of everything. This is funny. I look forward to seeing if this has any actual utility for anything. Other than that, just a goofy card. Pair Bear Scare. A quick play spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn, and you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per duel. First, your opponent can reveal a Pair Bear Scare in their hand or deck, and if they do, each player gains 2,000 life points. Otherwise, destroy one monster they control. Second effect, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add this card to your opponent's hand. Okay. So, reading the first effect, it's like, okay, so if this gets popular, then it starts losing all of its utility because then everyone's going to have one, and then it just turns into a both players gain 2,000 life points, which, to be fair, there could be some decks that take advantage of that. It's just removal if they can't do that, but then once per duel, you will give them a pair bear scare, so you either play just a single copy of it, so oh, wait a second. Oh, wait, that's actually really funky. So there are, not many, but there are a few cards in the game that need you to call out a card in your opponent's hand. While Pair Bear Scare's second effect does kind of remove the first effect's destruction utility, it does enable other cards by ensuring your opponent has a certain card in hand until they discard it. And if they discard it, then your other Pair Bear Scares work, and then you don't have to give them anymore because you've already exhausted the second effect for the duel. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Don't let me tell you that it's good. The premium pack cards are always good at making me yap. I swear to God. Okay, Early Palm gets the win. What's going on with this one? What's this butler-ass guy doing? Continue a spell card. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your monster, you can roll a 6-sided die and apply this effect to your battling monster based on the result until the end of this turn. If you activate this effect during a battle involving two monsters in the same column, choose which effect to apply without rolling a die. Okay. So if you roll a 1 or a 4, the first time it would be destroyed by battle or card effect. It is not destroyed. If you roll a 2 or a 5, it loses 500 attack. Also, it's unaffected by activated spell or trap effects, except Early Palm gets the win. And if you roll a 3 or a 6, it gains 1,000 attack. Also, it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Oh. So, Magnite card? S-Force card? I mean, they already want to make sure that things are in the same column anyway. Then you just pick the 1,000 attack. Double punch. I could... Look, it's support for decks that are already not very good. So when you're at that point, cards like this become a lot more feasible to play because your card quality is already kind of suffering. So maybe keep an eye out for this one. Because decks that care about columns might be looking for a little extra boost like this. What is this one? Abisu Shinsen Matsuri. Abisu Shinsen Matsuri, a continuous trap card. Once per chain, if an effect monster is special summoned, you can target one of them. Special summon a Shinsen token, which is a level 3 aqua water monster with 0 attack and defense, to its controller's opponent's field in defense position. At the start of the battle phase, you can destroy this card and as many tokens on the field as possible. And if you do, special summon an Abisu token, which is a level 7 water fairy monster, whose attack and defense become the number of tokens destroyed by this effect times 700. Huh. So, you set this, and you activate it on your own turn, presumably, because... no, I guess it wouldn't matter, right? Because if you activate it during your opponent's turn, you're the one getting the token. So you don't have to worry about giving your opponent free stuff in that regard. If we go to battle phase, you can trade in your tokens for a bigger token, though its size depends on how many tokens they made. So it's a weird reverse black garden. But like, even if the max, like you got 5 tokens, what is that? 7 times 5... 714. You get a 3,500 attack and defense token. If your opponent lets this go that long, this one's just a funny card. It's just fun. I don't have another long-winded thing for this one. This is just goofy. Great premium pack cards. Once again, they're killing it in the form of cards that make for good bits. Okay, folks. On December 19th, 2025, Academia Duel Log, a guidebook that covers every duel from the animated series Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, will be released, and it comes with a promo card, Miracle Ejector. Well, that's cute. That's one of the random cards that Jaden has, you know, Miracle Flipper and Card Flipper, I think, or Miracle whatever Ejector, or Card Ejector and Card Flipper. Those are the two. The ones that look like little tiny Dark Magician and Dark Magician girls. Very cute. Good reference. Glad to see we got them back here. Anyway, Elemental Hero. More of them! More of them! I can't escape this! They're here forever! Okay. Level 3 Earth Spellcaster monster, Miracle Ejector, 400 attack and defense scores, always treated as an Elemental Hero card. You can only use the first, second, and third effects of this card's name each once per turn. Does it do anything actually worthwhile? You can send a Neospatian monster from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Okay. Setting up Neospatians in the graveyard is pretty good for some of the modern cards, so I'm not going to say no. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a spell or trap card that mentions an Elemental Hero's monster's name from your deck to your hand. Oh. A lot of those new Neospatian cards name Neos. This searches Neos Fusion. This card is sent to the graveyard. You can target one card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. That's just free graveyard hit. Ask the hero for fusion zones? This... I mean, it's not good for, like, good builds of hero, but... This might actually be, like, playable in Neospate. Oh. Okay, I'm sorry, Miracle Ejector. I wasn't familiar with your game. Go. Move along. Do your stuff. Okay, cool. Welcome to the team, Miracle Ejector. I have been having a blast playing Neospatians in Domain. I have to tell you, resolving a, space gift with 3 Neospatians on board to draw 3 is crazy. I love it so much. Okay, lastly, we have the remaining cards from the new box. So we previously saw a Ritual Ritual Infusion retrains of Demise and Thousand Eyes Restrict. And the what was speculated is that we would be seeing retrains of all of the different summon mechanics that were the first ones banned. And I think that hasn't held entirely. I think some of these are not the first ones that were banned, but they are all banned cards, or are based on banned cards. And having Infernal Strike Fighter to go with Dark Strike Fighter is brazy. I can't wait to see what they do with these ones. So you have Synchro, Xyz, Pendulum, and Link here. So let's go ahead and start with Infernal Strike Fighter, level 7 Dark Machine Synchro monster, 2600 attack, 1800 defense, requires generic material. Do we have a good image of this one? Okay. What's Dark Strike Fighter hitting with this? Oh, hold up there, folks. I've got one more thing to show you. I got one more run here before they put me back on the ban list. So during main phase 2, as a quick effect, you can destroy as many face-up monsters on the field as possible. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original levels of those destroyed monsters times 200. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one level 5 or lower machine monster in your graveyard and special summon in defense position. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. Oh, so, wait. What? Wait. Okay, so they errata Dark Strike Fighter to only be usable during main phase 1, and you couldn't do a battle phase. I think that's how it... And you can only do it once per turn, but now Infernal Strike Fighter feels like you're... It feels like it's just the old way you would use Dark Strike Fighter. Wait till main phase 2, blast... This destroys all face-up monsters on the field, not just your own. So you're not distributing your own monsters for damage, you're essentially attributing your opponents, though it has to count levels, not like... It destroys all monsters, but it only cares about levels. But this is base 1400 damage because of itself. And then this is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target a level 5 or lower machine. So then and then it floats. This is... Oh, wow. Okay, scary stuff here. Continuing in the line of these cards being actually good. Okay, next up is Galaxy Eyes Antimatter Dragon. I believe this is a play off of Dark Matter Dragon. We are seeing its more jovial twin, presumably. Galaxy Eyes Antimatter Dragon, level 9 Light Dragon XYZ monster, 4000 attack, requires 2 level 9 monsters as material. But once per turn, you can also XYZ summon this card by using an XYZ monster you control with 3 or more material. Okay, we wouldn't just so happen to have a few sets recently that cared about having XYZ monsters with multiple materials, would we? Any battle damage this card with material inflicts to your opponent is You can detach a material from this card. This card gains the ability this turn to make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Then if the detached material was a monster, you can send one monster with its same type from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, alright. So this is just a fine version of the old card. Dark Matter Dragon was like a 4000 that you would send 3 dragons and it would get 3 attacks. So you were setting up your graveyard something fierce before getting a gigantic monster that punched in for lethal almost on its own. This version only attacks monsters twice. Still has a great attack stat. 4000 is still killer. And then it's also a Foolish Burial. So this one I don't think is crazy like the other ones before it, but I still think this is a solid option. It's generically available in any deck that utilizes XYZ monsters that utilize more than 2 material. Granted, I know Teller Knights just had a bunch of new support, and some of their newer cards limit you to Teller Knight and Constellar usage, so maybe we don't see this as much in those decks, but there are several other ones that I imagine will be able to take advantage of this. And then just being able to turn any of those into a, okay, cool, 4000 double attacker. Yeah, it seems pretty good in my opinion. Solid stuff. This is the worst one so far, but I would still say it's decently playable. Next up, Wind Unicorn Parallel the Dracoslayer. Not a, they didn't make it a Magispector card, interestingly enough, but it is still a Dracoslayer. This is going to be weird, so I would hazard a guess and say that while this and the Halqifibrax that's coming up here are technically Dracoslayer cards, I don't think they're going to mean much in the actual canon. These are like promo cards for a special set. So, and looking at them, they don't seem to provide anything additional to the lore. Like, this is just Halqifibrax in a different pose. This is just Kieran in a different pose. More dragon-y, perhaps. They've lost much of their horse-like features, but, you know, just additional stuff. But what does it actually do is the question. Wind Unicorn Parallel, the Dracoslayer, is a level 6 wind spellcaster with 2,000 attack and defense and a scale of 2. As a pendulum spell, if you have a card in your other pendulum zone, you can activate one of these effects. Either special summon this card or destroy this card, and if you do, special summon a level 5 or lower pendulum monster card from your pendulum zone. So you summon itself, or you summon the other monster from the other zone, so long as it is a low enough level. While this pendulum summoned card is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Also, it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So it has the Magispector text on it, but you have to pendulum summon it. As a quick effect, you can target one pendulum monster card that you control and one card your opponent controls and return them to the hand. Oh, okay. Okay, so this is just Kieran. Although, granted, it's Kieran with an actual effect. Or, not effect. It's Kieran with an actual pendulum effect. So, yeah, not a Magispector, but still very strong with them, and just very strong in pendulum decks in general, I would say. Nothing about this specifically screams, you have to play this in Dracoslayers. But it bounces your pendulum monster cards, it bounces your opponent's cards, it's a quick effect. If you pendulum summon, it's got the protection on it, and while it's in the scales, it helps enable your pendulum summons. Hard to argue with that. This is just a good-ass card. Play this in all your pendulum decks. As long as you have a card in your other pendulum zone, you summon this for free. Your opponent threatens to destroy it, even though it doesn't have the protection because it wasn't pendulum summoned, just bounce it back. It's fine. Granted, you can interact with it better if you don't pendulum summon it. Like, if you threaten to bounce it off the board, then your opponent will be like, aha, imperm. But I think you can play this and Kieran now. I think Kieran's legal again, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, silly card. And then lastly, we have Crystron Halqifibrax Prism, a Link 3 Water Machine Link monster with 1500 attack, with the bottom left, bottom, and bottom right arrows. It requires 2 or more monsters, including a tuner, so a Link 2 and a tuner, most likely. Almost like you could make Halk, and then if someone's a tuner, and then you could link this together. Not that you can... Though, if you're playing domain format, you could do that, so keep that in mind. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon a tuner monster from your extra deck in defense position with a level less than or equal to the total original levels of the monsters used as material. Oh, so maybe you don't want to cheat this into play with a Link 2 and a tuner monster. Maybe you want to actually hard make this so that your levels are large enough. Because there's a lot of good tuners that live in the extra deck now, as it turns out. During your opponent's mana battle phase, as a quick effect, you can banish this card that you control to special summon 3 Crystron tokens, but they cannot be attributed. You can use each effect of this card once per turn, but you can only make them during your opponent's main or battle phase. Huh? And they're only level 1. So... I guess the idea is that you summon, like, because the synchro tuners already generally come with a way to quick sync during your opponent's turn. So by pulling one of those out with Prism's effect, you essentially get to turn Prism's Link 3 into 3 level 1 materials to sync that up with. That's probably what's meant to be done here. The question is it good enough? Is that something that people will play? in synchro decks? Does that enable something wild? That is going to have to be something that I leave up to all of you. I have never been a huge synchro gearhead, and as such, their interactions with their Link brethren for situations such as these have gone amiss for me. So, what synchro tuners can Prism bring out that would allow for some miraculous summoning? And how about the rest of these cards that we saw today? Are any of these other brilliant what do they call this box again? I forget. The band box, the band monster box. Do any of these have any interactions that I wasn't aware of? Am I overthinking Infernal Strike Fighter? Is this not as good as I imagine it being, or does this just seem like Dark Strike Fighter 2.0? I don't need your responses about this one. This card is just good. I know that one. What are your thoughts on the promo pack cards? These are funny. Any interesting interactions here? Tell me I'm wrong about Saber Combination. Please tell me I'm wrong about Saber Combination. That's what I need to tell me I'm wrong about. I need this card to be good. This card is nifty. And yeah, the Charmers. Knocked out of the park. Glad to see them. Because I know there's a ton of Charmer fans out there. I don't think they would be investing in this if there weren't. So I imagine that Charmer fans are happy right now. But if you are, let me know. Because I might be wrong. I haven't been part of that camp. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. And keep an eye on the channel tomorrow. I should have a fun little announcement for a little event that we'll be running over on Twitch in the coming week. So keep the eyes on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. And until the next time Konami drops some juicy spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout while helping out the channel. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Charlie Mercury, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Groog, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Meme King, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yaminair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Boos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, That One Dumbass, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Anthrak, A Random Pup, Blade Runner 1034, Blaze Rider, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Christopher Fuss, again, Chris B, Cool Trainer Dark, Dr. Entity RIP, Eki Bullock, Edwin Perez, Eva Padilla, Herbal D, Inblink, J.A. Flair, Julian Marquez, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru 02, Manga Pages, Mr. Machina, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nicholas Murphy, Not Al Gore, Obsidian, Pombo, Rhyme Kairos, Rogue Wolf, Shizuki Nijimura, Simic Toadstool, Stephen Huntsman, The Legendary Raven, The Queen of Time, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Zaldreka and Zentha, as well as all the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.